All three of them are connected. Having wisdom, having fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and having humility are all connected. But sometimes you're going to see certain rabbis or people that call themselves rabbis that don't exactly portray humility, don't exactly portray Yirat Shamayim. Like, for example, a few recent experiences of things that I saw. Yesterday, I don't know if any of you guys heard of this Kofel. He calls himself the Rabbi of America. His name is Shmuley Boteach. Shmuley Boteach is unfortunately calls himself a Chabadnik. I don't really think that Chabad really associates with him. But he has actually been a problem for Am Yisrael for quite some time. He wrote a book some years ago because he wants to make money. He wrote a book called Kosher Jesus. Kosher Jesus. Kosher Avodah Zarah. Then, a year ago, he wrote a book with one of the biggest zonot in the history of mankind, a woman named Pamela Anderson. One of the women that caused more men to sin than probably anybody else in the last century. He wrote a book with her. About what? About sex. A rabbi. So if that's not bad enough, yesterday he goes on camera, records himself. He likes to record himself. With all the millions that he has, apparently he can't find anybody that's going to be his cameraman. And he records himself rebuking the head of education in Eretz Yisrael that says that people that are homosexual but yet want to maintain a Torah lifestyle need to go to counseling, need to help themselves. You cannot be a kosher Jew and homosexual at the same time. You cannot be a good husband and a wife beater at the same time. It's not possible. You cannot be a good Jew and be an enemy of Hashem at the same time. It's not possible. Hashem says that people that perform homosexuality are considered disgusting in the eyes of Hashem. So you cannot say, perform homosexuality, not just had the feelings, desires. Actually, exercise the feelings and desires and think that you're a kosher Jew. It's not possible. Why? Hashem says it's considered an abomination. Abomination means disgusting to Hashem. So how many of you want to go home and see one of your parents say, "Oh, hi son, you're disgusting"? Who wants that? "Hey son, you disgust me." Who wants this? "Hey honey, how are you?" "Yeah, you're disgusting, honey." Who wants this? Nobody wants this. Why? Nobody wants to be disgusting. Well, guess what? Somebody performs homosexuality, that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying. Son, you're disgusting. That's what it says. That's what Torah says many times. To such an extent that somebody that does not do tshuva for homosexuality has no share of the world to come. They go to Gehenom, they don't leave. It's that disgusting. It's not like one of those things where you stole and you have to give it back, or you lied and you have to get punished a little bit, but it's, no, this is horrible. This is one of the 36 things that Torah says karet. Karet meaning Hashem disconnects from those people if they do not stop and do tshuva. Now, Baruch Hashem, we've been successful at helping many Jews overcome this desire, because at the end of the day, it's only a desire. It's not a disease. The secular world tells you, no, he's born that way. He's born that way. She's born that way. You can't change them. No, my friend. No one's born that way. Yes, you may have desires. Doesn't mean you have to exercise them. Some people have a desire to steal stuff. Doesn't mean they have to steal. Some people have a desire to eat anything that moves. Doesn't mean you have to eat it. Some people have a desire to see blood. Doesn't mean you have to be a serial killer. You could be a butcher too. You could be a surgeon. You could use your desire and apply it to different things. You're attracted to something feminine. So, okay, that makes you normal if you're a guy. But if you're a woman, you're attracted to something feminine. Okay, so find a feminine guy. You're attracted to something masculine as a guy. Okay, so find a woman that's masculine. Doesn't mean that you have to find that it has to be the same sex. People are crazy. Point being, Rabotai, is that people think, no, this is not a problem. Why? Because they have people like this Shmuley Boteach Kofel that comes out, calls himself a rabbi, the Rabbi of America nonetheless, and says, listen, the Torah of course says that it's not allowed to practice homosexuality. But we have 613 mitzvot. Okay, so he makes one sin. So he has 612 other ones. What's the big deal? He just took the entire Torah and put it in the toilet. There's no such thing, what's the big deal? If HaKadosh Baruch Hu says this is a big deal, nobody in the world can change that. Nobody in the world can change that. Now you're going to say, wait a minute, so how could a rabbi, nonetheless, a rabbi of America, guy that's so famous, has 1 million likes on Facebook, and so on and so forth, how could such a guy that knows so much Torah, how could he make such a foolish mistake? I mean, this is a series of mistakes over an entire career, but nonetheless, this is the most recent one from yesterday. Is because just because you've learned Torah does not mean that you have Yirat Shamayim automatically. Does not mean that you fear Hashem automatically. Just because you've attained a certain chokhmah, a certain level of wisdom, a certain amount of knowledge from the Torah, doesn't mean that you've actually acquired the humility and the fear of Hashem that is supposed to go with it. Because sometimes people learn the Torah like a history book. Sometimes people learn the Torah simply for mental stimulation, like you do in a university. We call those people like university rabbis, where they study the Torah the same way that they study history, the same way they study math, the same way they study science, same way. And they say, oh yeah, they can tell you all the facts, they can tell you what the halakha is, yes, no, allowed, not allowed, Moshe Rabbeinu went here, Moshe Rabbeinu went there, Avraham, Yitzchak. They'll tell you the stories, they'll tell you even more stuff than I can tell you. But as far as their character traits, the same rotten way they came into the world, the same rotten as they are today. And we learn it that people much greater than anyone we have in this generation also fell for the same trap. One of the wisest people that lived, but yet the Torah in Masechet Sanhedrin says he has no share of the world to come. His name was Doeg HaAdomi. Doeg HaAdomi was the head rabbi of the world, the head of the Sanhedrin. He knew over 300 halachot, 300 laws about the most intricate and difficult parts of the Torah, more than anybody else in his generation. But yet, his Torah all went to the garbage because he didn't apply it to his life. He knew the information, he knew what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, but he did not apply it in order to fix his character traits. So he didn't apply it in order to attain Yirat Shamayim. And unfortunately, this happens in every generation. So anytime you see a rabbi speak things that are not exactly kosher, don't be scared away. They've existed in the past, they'll exist in the future, unfortunately. It's just people that know some information, but they don't necessarily apply it. It's like, for example, a guy that's a surgeon, specializing in lung surgery for people that have been long-time smokers. Right after he finishes the surgery, he goes outside, smokes a cigarette. This exists in the world. Yeah, he does the surgery, but he goes and smokes a cigarette. That doesn't make him evil. Stupid, but not evil. Why? He's addicted to cigarettes. I was addicted to cigarettes for over 20 years. I can tell you it's very addictive. And quite frankly, if it wasn't for tshuva, I would never stop. Why? I liked smoking cigarettes. But then when my rabbi told me, listen, yes, you like smoking cigarettes, kol hakavod, but that's not the will of Hashem. Yeah, but I like it. Okay, you can like it as much as you want, but that's not the will of Hashem. That's enough of a reason. That's enough of a reason not to do it. The point being is, how much do you want to work on your connection to Hashem? Do you want to work on your connection to Hashem as hard as you work on the things that are most important to you? Or is it going to be like a side project? You're going to do it whenever you get a chance. That's what Yirat Shamayim is all based out of. How close do you want to be to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Do you want to be first in line, right next to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you leave this world? Or do you want to hopefully make it in? The problem is that people that hopefully make it in usually never end up making it in.